Okay, be honest. Have you ever watched a movie and even before the actor says anything or anything happens, you're already like totally into it? Well, often that's because of the music. And today we are talking to Tommy Fields, who has composed the music for some of our absolute favorite Hallmark movies. How you doing, Tommy?
Fantastic. How are you,
Man,
Eric?
I am doing great. So we've been trying to do this for a little while, but good news, you've been a busy guy. So we've had to, keep pushing it back a little bit and stuff. So
Yeah,
I appreciate that you have a little window where we finally get to talk.
absolutely. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you being patient with my schedule.
No, it's great.
And
I
get me
think
on here.
it's as as fans, it's always we see the final product, but it's fun to see, and learn a little bit about what's happening, in the background that makes these movies happen. And I've had a great time, talking to a lot of I don't know if you technically fall within crew or whatever your
Yeah.
role is, but the non-actors, shall we
Uh-huh.
say, the people who really, make all the magic happen that we don't necessarily always think about at first. And so it's like I say, I'm really excited.
Cool.
All
Thanks.
right.
Appreciate
So
it.
as we get going though, I have to ask, you and I were cruising around in your, I don't know what, I assume you have a great, convertible that we're just like 56,
We'll go
whatever,
with that.
Thunderbird, right? And we're cruising around and you're blaring the music. What do you got going on that playlist?
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess it depends on the day. I'm a huge Post Malone fan. I love
Okay.
Post Malone. Nine Inch Nails, I love. Or it could be, a film score. I'll be at the gym working out sometimes or whatever, and I have like classical music going on in my headphones. I'm like, if people could only hear like what's going on in
It
my
seems like
world.
you're doing that backwards, right?
I
The classical
know.
music should be driving, and then the
Yeah, it should
that
be.
hard beat stuff should be at the gym.
Yeah.
All right, well, who is the best band? There's only one right answer, by the way.
Okay.
Who is the best band of all time?
Ooh. Wow. Would have to be probably the Beatles, right? I mean,
Yeah,
is that the right answer?
that is so wrong. That they're the most overrated band. No, I don't know.
Okay.
But
Well,
no,
I'll,
the
I'll say
question
for
is for
my.
you. You like
How
you're saying
about
what you think the answer should be. I want to know what you think the answer is.
busted? The oh wow. Let's see. Favorite band or what's the best band? My God, that is such a difficult question. Um, Gosh, trying to think of who like would have influenced me the most. Like over the years, been so many. But I don't. What's your answer? I don't know. I can't pick one.
The right answer, The Clash,
Oh, the Clash.
the
Okay,
only
cool.
band that matters. It's easy. It's from ever like 1979 when I was a little kid. My older brother had London Calling album. I put it on the very first time. From that point on, there's never been a doubt in my life. I guess that's why I'm just out here doing whatever, and you're composing because you have all these influences going on
Yeah, well,
in your
it's
life. And then if I
probably
ask
too
my
much.
wife, it's Def Leppard. Well, we're going to
Oh
Florida
yeah.
next week to go see. We fly around the country to go to Def Leppard concerts because she can't get enough.
No, for real?
For
You guys are
real.
following them? That's so cool.
Yes. I've been like, she paid ridiculous amount of money for us in Vegas to go backstage and meet them. I'm like, why did you pay for me? Who I don't dislike Def Leppard, but
Right.
I certainly don't like them enough to spend a couple of grand to go
No
shake their
kidding.
hand for 18 seconds. And the funny thing is, it was her twin sister, and her husband, and me, and then the band. And then you see the picture. I'm the only one smiling because they are in like this like total fandom thing of like, oh my God, I am next to, them
Yeah,
and
totally.
everything. And I'm just like, whatever. But all right, now you've had your time, you've thought about it.
I love that. We I was in a rock band several years ago. I used to be a singer. I
Front
played in
man.
front man in rock bands, like whatever. So I go from being social, being a front man to like just being in my studio all the time composing for films. It's a total like But when I was at a band like several years ago, Def Leppard was one of the bands that was rehearsing a couple rooms next to
Wait
us.
till I tell my wife, she will flip.
Yeah, that
She
was
will flip.
that was pretty cool.
All right, well, all right. we'll let you off the hook there since you never actually answered the question. But moving on. So we talked about you got the classical going, you've got Post Malone, and all that. What is that song on your Spotify that secretly you don't want anyone to know that you have on there, yet you just love?
Ooh. Would Post Malone be one of those? Like some some
I
people
don't
are
think
like,
I don't think.
he's just a pop star. Like,
No, no, no. Well,
I'm,
well, you think I'll let you know. Mine's Miley Cyrus. Was it "Party in the USA"?
oh
I
yeah,
love
okay,
that song or whatever.
yeah,
So they're
yeah,
I
they're in
don't
the
think
same
Post
world.
Malone falls within that category, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a. I'm trying to think of like I'm usually. What's so funny is like when I get entrenched in scoring movies or whatever, like the outside world kind of like disappears, and I'm like, oh, what? I just realized before we jumped on this podcast that I haven't even eaten yet today.
Oh my!
So
Anyone
yeah,
listening, it is not the morning.
yeah, exactly. It's almost dinner time, actually.
Wow.
That's so funny.
All right, so you're avoiding all the questions. Come on, you got
I
to have
am. I
some
know.
embarrassing song. What's one of those ones that you just love? That like it's got to be like probably a pop song, right? That
Yeah, it is pop
that you
song.
shouldn't be enjoying, but you do.
Yeah. It's like all growing up, I only listened to like hard rock, like Nine Inch Nails and Soundgarden and Tool and like all of these kind of bands. And then I have two daughters, so when they were growing up, all they wanted to listen to was pop music. So it's like
Right.
I kind of like I think I lost myself.
No, I can relate. Like I say, I've got the Clash, the Sex Pistols, Gang of Four, like all that, late
Yeah.
70s, 80s, and then you have your kids and you're listening to, all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Who are the not the guys who are on they used to be on PBS dressed in the four colors. Oh crap, I forget what their name is.
Teletubbies.
No, not the I did watch a lot of Teletubbies.
Yeah.
Not the Tiddlywinks. I forget what they were,
Man, I
but
can't remember.
all
Yeah.
right.
But
All
they
right.
used to listen to Selena Gomez and all of that stuff. It was actually their first concert we took them to was Selena Gomez, and I was like, so I kind of like got into that pop world at that point. So not necessarily what my roots are. It's like I'm
Right.
definitely more of a rock guy or whatever. But
With being a little bit older than your kids, obviously, and the thing which I imagine for you as well. Like when we were young, you could go to concerts galore because they were like $30, $20, whatever. And now you go to a concert, you're dropping a few $100. Like my kids have been to literally a handful of concerts. Like, and I
Mhm.
would go to more than that in a summer
Oh
than
yeah,
they've been into their entire life.
yeah.
So a little
Well,
different.
yep, totally. Times are
Well,
changing.
so you do like you say you listen to some of these when you're driving around and everything like that. What movie? And you can't skip this answer too because you skipped every answer so far. But what movie would you say is the like all-time best scored movie ever that
Ooh,
you look at and you go, "Oh crap, I wish I would have been like that on my
wow.
resume."
Okay. Man, there's so many like amazing movies. Like one of my favorite movies that I think the score is brilliant in is The Matrix. It's like I'm a huge Don Davis fan. Like that movie is incredible. And actually, I scored a Western film that's coming out next month in theaters, and that's kind of the mindset that I put myself in scoring that movie. It was very classical music driven too, whatever, but just big dissonant moments, whatever. Like I was like, like so that was my chance to like kind of score a movie kind of like that. So that's one of them I love.
I will not fault you on that. That's one of my all-time favorite movies.
No kidding. That's cool. I love that one. I mean, it's I know kung fu. It's such a great one.
Well, you said earlier that like you used to front a band. You're just a kid from Indiana who moved to LA to be whatever a rocker, right?
Mhm.
I
Yep.
assume. So just tell me a little bit about this journey from, going through, which I'm at, like every kid goes through some stage at their life where like I should be leading a band, and then the lack of talent pretty much says I'm not getting in my car and driving over, to LA and giving it a go. But for you, obviously, you got the ability. So just tell us a little bit about your backstory.
The backstory. Well, I came from Indiana, like you said, and started out playing trombone and
I played
guitar.
trombone in fifth grade.
You did?
I was
Oh,
so
that's so
bad that
cool.
the band director moved me to tuba,
Uh-huh.
and he was like, "We got to get you out of here and put you in the back." I was like third tuba out of three. So trombone was my start.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah. I wanted to play like trumpet or something for some reason, but
The cool ones,
my
right?
mouth was like ginormous, when I was a kid. And so like, you need the bigger mouthpiece. So, but I started out playing trombone, and then I started playing guitar, and then um, went off and started playing cover bands in Indiana, and played in pep band and marching band and all that stuff, in high school. And then I moved to LA, went to music school, and then just had tons of odd jobs playing in rock bands, and the bands that I played with were all great musicians. Like one of my drummer friends is playing with Fits and the Tantrums right now, out on tour with them. Bass player's playing with The Who. He's like been touring with them for several years, and like I've just been around a lot of great, really great musicians in that band world, And so we never got signed or anything. We just, but a lot of great bands. But then I ended up playing with, they came across my demo somehow of one of the rock bands that I was in, but I played with Slash and Duff and Matt Sorum when they were looking for a singer for Velvet Revolver back in the day. And then I played with them for probably a month or month and a half, wrote and rehearsed with them. And then that didn't happen, obviously. Scott Weiland got the gig, so then I kind of veered into a different path and just started writing my own songs. And then I started getting songs played on television, getting placed on television shows and stuff. And then started writing music for TV promos and promercials, what they call them, partnering with Disney and for different shows that they do. And then that kind of I fell into the film world. I had a couple of friends that were filmmakers, and they were like, "Hey, you want to score my movie?" And and so I jumped at the chance to do that, and realized that I loved it. It's like I think I've always loved film music. Even when I was younger, before I even started doing it. But I finally started getting into it. It was like super exciting. I love telling stories in that way through music. It's just it's magical in some ways, So then that's when I met Dustin Reichert, who kind of went off into the Hallmark world. I did an independent film with him before all that, and then he went off and started doing Hallmark movies. So he pulled me in on that whole thing, and we've been, man, I don't even know how many movies we've done together now.
It's
But
a few. I was looking at your IMDb before this, and yeah, you've
yeah,
definitely done a few.
yeah. And they keep getting better. It's like when we first started in the Hallmark world, we were doing very guitar oriented, very organic type score, which I still do that, for the regular rom-com type shows that they do. But we've been able to spiral off and do these, time travel movies. And I don't know, the Christmas movies are just you're able to bring something more magical to those scores, which is just a lot of fun. So I'm incredibly grateful for Dustin for bringing me along for the ride.
So when you're hanging out with Duff and Slash there, and you're playing guitar and stuff, were you going, damn, I really wish I could go hang out on Hallmark and get rid of you guys? I'm guessing that was not on your radar at that moment, right?
At that moment, definitely not.
All right. Well, staying in that moment, do you have any crazy, once again, we're a Hallmark world here, but any crazy of your old rock band stories that you can share with us?
Oh, wow. Rock band stories. Well, I did one of the first bands actually, I was in LA. We got hired to play spring break in, I think it was Orlando, Florida, I think. And so, we were all broke musicians at that time. So we uh, I don't know if we rented a car or if it was one of their cars or whatever, and put a U-Haul on the back of it and load of all of our equipment in it, and drove from Los Angeles to to Orlando, Florida. And it started out amazing. We were playing on the beach during the day and then playing a club at night. every single day, so it's a blast, it was just a huge party there, whatever. And then about halfway through it, the storm of the century came through. and, and so everybody left and we were stuck there. We got paid half of our money, and we're like, and the promoter like totally stiffed us, and so we're like, God, we have no money to make it back to Los Angeles.
I was about to say, it seems like renting a car and driving across country, everything you earned was pretty much transportation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And so we literally like on all the way back, we were eating at gas stations on gas cards and like whatever. It was like,
I thought you were going to do like the Blues Brothers, just show up and steal other people's gigs to get paid and
exactly
in beer and everything, just to work your way across the country.
Yeah, totally. That's almost the way it was.
All right. Well, let's find out a little bit about what it actually is that you do, because like I say, we all have probably our envision of what it is, which is probably based on Two and a Half Men and Charlie Sheen's character or something like that. Like, right, you're just singing at a piano and drinking, all night long. But
pretty much
what so tell us a little bit about, like, at what point are you getting involved? Like, do you get the script and then they say go do it, or do they wait until they have like some sort of film that you look at and then score? Like, how does the process work for us that have no idea?
Yeah, sure. It varies from project to project, really. It's like I like to get the script up front, and just to kind of get a feel for what the movie is and, where it's set. Is this going to be more guitar driven or, more, is it in the South, or is it, in, some tropical paradise, whatever. It's like, or Biltmore.
Or Iceland. You seem to like Iceland.
Yeah.
2 times there.
Yes. After I scored those movies, I was like, I have to go to Iceland. It was just so beautiful, like some of the shots they had from that film. And then my wife and I had a trip planned to go to Iceland. I think I had scored Love on Iceland back in 2019 maybe or something. And we're like, oh my God, I have to go. Like, this is so beautiful and amazing. And we planned the trip and then COVID hit. so I still haven't been yet.
Ironically, exactly the same with me.
No,
we were supposed to go over COVID.
Oh man, have you
and
guys?
We haven't gone, and we still haven't gone.
Oh man, well we have to do a foursome here.
Perfect. My daughter's ditching us. She lives in Boston now, and it's super cheap to fly from Boston to there, and so she's going without me, and I'm a little annoyed, but whatever.
What?
All right.
Yeah, what's up with that? My daughters are in Boston too. How funny.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Wait, am I talking to myself?
I know.
I don't remember hanging out with Slash playing. I think I'd remember. Well, actually, probably I wouldn't remember that. But okay, right, back to telling us how you do this.
So the script, I get that just to get a vibe for the film. But sometimes I don't get it, and sometimes I'll try to come up with music before I even get picture. But a lot of the times it doesn't work out because I don't know when you get. They'll go off and shoot and edit everything, and and then I'll get the locked cut of the film, and then
Sorry, is locked cut mean the final cut?
Yeah, the final cut, and that's the one that I'll score to, and they'll do VFX and colorization and all that stuff, and then I'll get the locked cut, and then I'll score to that, and then I usually work with a music supervisor too. They'll pick songs or source music that would be in a coffee shop or department store or whatever. So I'll work with them to place those songs, the right songs in the film. And and then actually I'll score portions of the film, and then I'll upload it to this thing called Frame.io, which is like kind of a website, I guess, for everyone to view and make comments on what they want out of it. And then I get feedback from the network, and I make adjustments, and we go from there. Yeah.
Okay, at the end of the day, really, and you got these, not to knock Hallmark people, but I don't think, they are musicians by and large. Are you getting really that many notes from them, or is it pretty much they just look and go, oh, yeah. Or they're like, wait a minute, we need a little piccolo there. I think you went, for the French horn or something.
Yeah. It may not be as specific as that, like like particular instruments or anything, but some of the people that I work with over there are like big film score, like they're very knowledgeable in film
Oh,
scores or whatever. So like I'm working on a film with Samantha DePippo and Candice DeLavore now, and the Bills movie, the Buffalo Bills movie,
okay.
and they're very they love film scores, film music, or whatever. So they actually give pretty spot on notes. And then, and even if they don't like know like specific instruments or whatever, they'll be like, this feels a little too big here, or can we play this up a little bit or whatever. And like, I've worked with them so many times now, I think that, that I kind of know what they're talking about, so.
So your chant for the holiday touchdown too or whatever the bill. Are you channeling that old high school marching band days with trombone and stuff like? Gee, Tommy, why is the trombone in every single one of
Exactly.
these? Can we maybe get something else in there? No,
They're
more
like,
trombone.
exactly.
It's like the Saturday Night Live with the cowbell. More
Totally.
cowbell, more trombone.
Totally. Yeah. Oh my God, that's
All right.
funny.
All right. So I think you kind of answered it for me a little bit, but when you're doing this, then there's a music supervisor who you work with, so they're the ones like picking out actual songs, and you're just doing the instrumental accompaniment part to that,
Yeah.
right?
All the other music that's in the film is like what I would do. All the, anything that's pretty much not a song is like I write all that.
Okay, so you did Chateau Christmas, Holiday Spectacular, right? Which have these big original type things that are part of the movie. Now, are you composing those things as well then?
What are those?
Chateau Christmas, that was one with Luke McFarlane and
Yeah.
Patterson, where they're in that little quartet, playing there. And then Holiday Spectacular was the chorus line movie.
Yeah.
You've done too many movies here, Tommy, that you're not remembering. Okay, we got to slow you
which
down.
one was that? On some of them I do. Yeah, like I can't remember the Chateau Christmas one. I think in Holiday Spectacular, when she was dancing to the big band music, was it? Is that what it was? Right? Yeah. I did write that. Yeah.
Okay. Was that kind of fun, like going to a different time period and writing away?
Absolutely. Those are some of my favorite films, honestly. The Rockettes one, the Holiday Spectacular, and A Biltmore Christmas. Next Stop Christmas.
That was like 20s, right? I think.
Which one? The Biltmore?
Biltmore, yeah.
That was 23, I think.
No, I meant the 20s, going back in time to the 1920s, I think.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. Early 1900s.
All right.
I don't remember exactly, but it was so fun, to be able to write big band music or jazz music, in addition to like all the big score things, whatever. It's like, yeah, it is a lot of fun. Yeah.
So when you're writing and things, and I don't know if it's possible, I assume it is, do you ever sneak little Easter eggs like into music that you're writing? Maybe like, once again, a tribute to your favorite band, the Beatles, which were, you're
not going to let me live that down, are you?
That's such the fake can answer that. Oh, you have to answer the Beatles, right? It's the worst. But no, do you ever actually do like Easter eggs and the things like you're like, oh, someone's not going to know this, but I'm sneaking a little 9 Inch Nails in here, or anything like, or this was the song like my daughter loved when whatever, anything like that.
I don't think consciously. I'm sure it comes through like just in the way I write, some melodies I'll listen to. I'm like, that may remind me of, some song from whenever.
Well, then where are you at right now? How far along are you in your Buffalo Bills movie?
Pretty early on, actually. We're just
there you go. You're sneaking some Clash somehow.
There we go.
I expect that from you, Tommy. So when I'm going to do it now, watch it this Christmas, all of a sudden I want to hear like, wait, what? Did I just hear that?
Exactly.
MIA went ahead and they sampled, the Clash and Paper Plane. So yeah. I expect something in there for you.
We'll circle back after the holidays, and I'll see if you can figure it out where it is. Right. I'm going to do it now.
I'm holding you to it. I'm holding it. If not, I'll never watch another Tommy Phillips movie.
Oh man!
Or I'll review them and I'll say this movie was fantastic, other than the score. The score was terrible.
It won't be the first time I've heard that. No,
Well, no, you wouldn't
Just kidding.
you wouldn't be so damn busy if that was the case. Well, we just talked about Biltmore Christmas a little bit, and that's probably the movie that you've got the most from the Hallmark world that you've got the most accolades from, right? I mean,
For
it's
sure.
I think it was voted like best Hallmark Christmas movie and all that, and the music, like I say, was really instrumental in that one. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
But from you, like, what was your actual favorite project that you've worked on? So it could be like, oh, no one saw it was a terrible movie, but I loved the score in it or anything. But it appears you don't actually remember all the movies.
Exactly.
That one I did in 17, that was good.
Exactly. Well, I probably have three that come to mind. Three projects that were the most fun as far as like film is concerned. I mean, A Biltmore Christmas was definitely like on the top of my list. I don't know. I really love that film. Even when I got the script for that, that was one that I got the script beforehand. I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I couldn't wait to get started on it. And then luckily everything happened just right. I feel like in that movie, and that was a blast to work on. The Western film that is coming out in theaters next month is called Long Shadows.
Oh, so always your next project is the best project.
Exactly.
I know how it works.
Yeah. I had a lot of time to work on that one and like really like get into the score and create all these crazy cool layers and stuff. So that was a blast to work on. I'm really proud of that score. And actually it was probably the third thing is a promotional that I worked on with Disney, and it was for the 50th anniversary of the Mary Poppins.
Okay.
And we did a four short little episodes with Dick Van Dyke. He starred in it or whatever, and so he was just talking about the Mary Poppins world, like whatever.
Wait, did you actually get like chat with him and everything?
Yeah, I actually got to go on set. That was like one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life.
I mean, that guy's got some stories. Forget you and Slash. That guy's got some stories. But
absolutely. He was so cool, like backstage too, because, I mean, he was there to do his gig, and there were probably, I don't know, 30 people, on set. And he, like in between takes, he would come back, and he was such a lovely person. He was just joking and doing and dancing and like just he was just amazing. I don't know. He was definitely like one of the coolest people I've met, like celebrity wise. But that project is probably one of my favorites. Also, it was just so much fun to work on.
It's interesting because they're all very different, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, this is my genre. They're very different. And once again, as I tease you though, this like Western with Matrix vibe to it does sound very appealing to me. So I think that's pretty cool. Well, I was going to ask you this, but you may not even remember any of them, but I was going to have you rank the three movies. I already know what your number one already is, but you did Biltmore Christmas, Savoring Paris, Holiday Touchdown, the original one, the Chiefs one, Holiday Spectacular, which the Rockettes one we talked about, and your very first one way back when, Home by Spring, which you may not even still
that was it. Yes, I was trying to think of that the other day. Yes, Home by Spring. Yeah.
All right, so if you had to rank them from your just like working on them and fond memories, sounds like Biltmore's number one.
Yep.
But how would you put the other ones? Like, is there a nostalgia for that Home by Spring because the first one, or is it like, yeah, it's fine, but it was boring, whatever. Saving Paris was great, doing the cafe music or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's are we just talking about those movies?
Yeah.
Okay. Home by Spring was great because it was brand new world for me, right? Like going into it and figuring out, honestly, I hadn't scored a lot of movies before that at that point, like feature lengths. I had done short form mostly. And so that one was very exciting because Dustin worked on that, and my friend William worked on it also. And so it was just a kind of a family vibe in a way,
right.
and we were all like brand new into this world. So we're all like, oh my God, can you believe we're in this, we're doing this, so that one was really cool. Savoring Paris, that was actually a lot of fun to work on. Who did, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of who I worked with on that one. Man,
Do you sit
totally
around and
spacing it.
you sit around and drink like cafe, like whatever,
Exactly.
coffee and red wine all
And
the
ate
time you're
cheese,
doing it?
yeah, cheese and
Yeah,
crackers, and
and eat some cheese, get in the mood.
yeah. But that was a lot
Research,
of fun
hon,
to work on.
research.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So Biltmore definitely was the top of the list. Probably Savoring Paris was probably my second favorite of the. Well, and did you mentioned the Rockettes one too,
Right,
right?
right.
That may actually be my second favorite. I think. Um, Different styles of music in that one too. That was just I don't know. That one was a lot of fun to work on. Also, yeah. So that's
See,
two, and probably Saving Prayers three.
so you're saying that the earlier, how that Homer Spring was the first full length and everything like that. Is it when you first sat down to do it and you're like, wow, I've got to do, and it's not 124 minutes, but it's clearly longer than a little song that you're probably writing when you're used to writing like a minute and a half or 2 minutes, right? And all of a
Yeah.
sudden you have to score something for that long. Was it like kind of crazy figuring out like, oh my God, it's still going, right? Like, and I have to maintain this. Was it like kind of
Yeah.
a tough learning curve there or something, or was it just once you
Absolutely.
get flowing, it flows?
Well, it's interesting because especially with these TV films, you have they're usually like tighter deadlines than other
Right.
projects. Like I'll have the same amount of time sometimes to work on these little short form promotions or whatever as I do to score a whole movie for Hallmark. It depends. We've usually anywhere from 2 weeks to like on this Buffalo Bills movie, I have 6 weeks to do this one.
Oh,
So the more time that I have, the better. Like I don't feel as stressed and like, up for working for 15, 20 hours a day for a few weeks. It kind of
yeah.
it definitely like you start going into this crazy, like, oh my God, where am I? Like kind of thing. But so yeah, it can be, especially early on, it was pretty intimidating, I would say, just working long hours and figuring it out and figuring out the Hallmark voice too. It's like they have a very specific way that they like to play certain things, it's like,
Right.
and each team's different too,
Not
so
quite 9 inch nails.
not quite. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm trying to influence them.
Hey, they are
That'll never
doing
work.
they are doing more things a little adventurous.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Well, so when you're doing this and you're composing it, do you play like, I know you play guitar, but do
Mhm.
you play trombone? But do you
Mhm.
play a variety of like the instruments like you yourself can play and just sort of know what it is? Because you then write it and then I assume studio musicians are off actually doing all of it, or are you actually doing any of the playing?
Yeah. No, I don't really do much of the playing. If it's guitar oriented, I'll do that. Piano, I play some piano, but I play all of it in the computer. Now, there's usually not enough time to go off and hire studio players, so I literally do almost everything in the
Oh,
computer.
so it's all digitally
Uh-huh.
created?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
fascinating.
So that's the trick is to get the samples to try to sound as real as possible,
Right.
and so I spend a lot of time tweaking notes, and that's one thing as far as speed is concerned. That's one thing that like bogs me down a little bit because I'm very much into the the vibe of how the music's playing to picture. It's just like I worked with some composers, that just play through a scene. I'm like, no, it's like you gotta, it's nuanced, and you gotta flow through it, and highlight this, back off here, play this joke, and it's a whole organic thing, and so I try to just make it sound as real as possible. I bought so many sample libraries and plug-in instruments to try to do that, and I don't use most of them, but
I,
I don't know. I try to just make it sound as real as possible,
I'm
real
gonna
as
have
I
to
can.
watch. I assume that's probably the industry standard for most Hallmark movies, right? Then
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna have to when we're done talking, listen to like watch one and listen and just
Yeah,
see. I'm like, oh wait, does that sound,
yeah,
whatever computer and thing like that? I guess it just sort of flows and it just creates that mood, but you don't. really think, I guess, too much about it. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we were joking about Iceland and stuff, but you seem to be the travel and leisure composer for, Hallmark. All your movies that I was going through are like destination movie, and if it's not even going destination, you're going across time or something like. You're
Hmm.
not really staying still and stuff like
Huh.
that. You think it's just coincidence that you've fallen into doing all these types of movies? You have very few guy going back to his hometown type
Yeah,
movies. You're going places
that's
with your
true.
music.
I never really thought about that.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I never.
I mean,
You know
man,
what?
how I didn't realize this? And like Buffalo or Kansas City is probably the most domestic you are with everything in the
That's
last
so
few
true.
years.
That's
Jeez.
funny. Yeah, I actually never thought about that. That's. I love it. It's like the time travel, and yeah, that's funny you brought that up. Like I've never really actually like thought about like I never really thought about that. I do love that's probably one of the things that I love about the the films that I've scored for them, like in the last handful of years or so. It's that they have been time travel or shot in France or God, where were some of the others? I don't even remember. But like, so then you have to instead of it just being like, oh, I'm going to play this and blah blah. It's is what it is, kind of thing. Like you get to do like a little more research maybe and go like, well, what kind of music would they play, and on the streets of France, and like what kind of instruments would they use, or like with Biltmore, it's like what kind of score, would they have played, in the 1930s or whenever that was, or with the Rockettes film too, it's like, well, what music do they use now and what did they use back when they started at that time when this film was taking place. So doing a little research, a little history, like going like what would they do, like what instruments would they have used or what kind of sound or tone or whatever. It's like super fun for me, like. So I'm happy that I am getting these destination
I'm glad.
movies. Thanks for
You're
pointing that
welcome for me
out.
pointing it out. Well, one of the other things you just did recently, where you did Hallmark did their Royal movie,
Oh yeah.
thing in February, and you did all three of those movies. So it wasn't like they just got you for one. You did all three. How did twofold? One, I assume they were all fairly like back to back to back, like a condensed period, so you're a little insane. But then how do you know that they're all the same trope, but still make them sound unique? Because it seems like you'd easily blend them all over and be like, ah, that one more work for all three of their royals.
Yeah. No, that's a good question, actually. The deadline on those was crazy. Like, I don't think like it probably pushed me to my limit, honestly. Like they
Did you get them
shot
all at one time, basically?
pretty much. Well, I
Okay.
got them all at different times, but then the deadline for score delivery was all on the same day.
Okay.
So it piled up, it backed up. So it was a pretty stressful time, honestly. Um, but and I'm trying to remember. They all had a different vibe about them. There was one that was the lead character was a younger woman, I think. And it was
They're
like
all
an
younger women.
amusement park, if I remember right.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
right. All right.
and there was another one that Andrew was in that he was more of kind of a badass, like,
Right.
you know, uh,
Reluctant or
reluctant royal.
reluctant royal.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what it was. And then the other one, I forget what the other one was.
That was the Mallory Jansen, maybe with
Oh,
where
yeah,
the royal we
yeah. That
the
was it.
little
Yeah,
that was a little where they went over and yeah.
yeah. So they all had like a different vibe, even though they were all royal. And if I remember right, we used the same theme throughout all three movies, if I remember right. But they were orchestrated differently. So Andrew's movie, The Reluctant Royal, was more, guitar driven, a little more
Okay.
like he was kind of a badass, um, buck the system, like wasn't into the royal thing or whatever. But and then the other one was more like straight up royal, if I remember right. And then the third one, Royal-ish, I think is what it was
Right.
called, was more youth, a little younger vibe to it, So we used similar themes, I think, through all three, but they each had their own tone.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then I'm sure by the time you're done with those, you're just like, don't give me another royal for, quite a while.
I don't think I wrote any music for probably 3 months after that. I was just like, oh.
Had a purge, huh?
Yeah, totally.
So, we're just talking about the royal trope and some time travel and stuff like that. But I've noticed you haven't done any mysteries. What's up with that?
I know. I don't know what's up with that. I think, I don't know. There may be some in the not too distant future.
All right.
I think.
Who do I have to call? I'm when you hang up, you tell me who to call, and I'll get
exactly.
You on that. All right. Like I was talking to Tommy, he's got a hole. He needs this filled. So, all right. Well, so it may be like the question I'm never supposed to ask you, and I apologize for asking it. But as a composer, and we've talked to writers, and they talk about writer's block. As a composer, do you get the equivalent? I don't know what. I guess it could still be writer's block, right? You're just not
Sure.
writing words; you're writing music. Do you get that? And then how do you power your way through it? I guess with the time, your deadlines, you gotta figure it out quickly, right?
Totally.
But
Yeah. I definitely get that. And on some, some films are better than others for just from not the films themselves, but like what I bring to it. It's like, sometimes your work is just, and sometimes you knock it out of the park. It's like, especially like you were saying with the deadlines, the timelines that we work on, it's like sometimes you have to go with your first idea, and you just run with it, And so when you're in that writer's block mode or whatever, it can be brutal, honestly, because you're like, what's wrong with me? Like what's, why isn't this coming? And you just have to give yourself grace, and just do the best you can at that time, and on that particular movie, it's like, that's a lesson that I've had to learn about myself, because I take, music is such a personal thing for me, and when I don't feel like I'm, just killing it, I would get a little down on myself, I'd be like, oh, you suck. Like, like,
never should
what
work
are you
again.
doing? Exactly. And I think, over time of doing it enough, you start just giving yourself, grace, and going like, well, I'm doing the best that I can in this moment, and that just has to be good enough, and it doesn't mean anything about you personally, or, like you just do the best you can in that moment, and it just has to be good enough. Yeah.
So I'm guessing, and you don't have to mention names by any means, but I'm guessing there's probably a film out there where you're like, I wish that they would just credit that to like Tim Folds instead, and I would never be associated with it, kind of thing, right?
No comment.
All right, well, so we started out earlier and you're saying how you're in a band and you're doing all that. Do you still perform at all and all that, or is it kind of?
I don't, unfortunately. It's just, the last project that I did, but we were going to do live, was a Soundgarden tribute band that I was in, which was freaking awesome. It's like Soundgarden is one of my favorite bands,
Well, now you've come up with it an hour later.
Yeah. Eventually you'll get your answers.
Beatles and Soundgarden, whatever. All right. Soundgarden, that's acceptable, by the way.
Okay, cool. Well, Chris Cornell was influenced by the Beatles, so.
Yeah, I know. I will not deny they were not influential. They do a lot of good stuff, but
yeah.
It's the easy out.
Yeah, I agree with you, actually. Beatles or Elvis, right? Like,
well, no, all music goes back to Elvis. Well, I guess no, because then you'd have that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, totally.
Where Elvis got all his inspiration from. But
yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, what do you have? what do you have up next? It sounds like the Bills, but then you have a stack of other ones that are just waiting, or are you going to get a little break? Where are you at now?
The Bills one, well, yeah, I'll be working on that for another month. And then, let's see, we did a Newport Christmas earlier a couple
Once
months
again,
ago.
you have to travel to
Yeah, exactly.
whatever, right? The resort.
The East Coast, yeah.
You did the Green Bear, however you pronounce it. Biltmore,
Oh,
now
yeah.
Newport.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we did, we just finished, well, probably like 2-3 weeks ago, we finished Hall at the Halloween. So
Oh,
that
so you've done
was
all three of
domestic.
those ones, right?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yep.
And
This one's like,
that's a Halloween one too.
yeah,
I'll tell
yeah.
you, when I heard the third one was coming out, I was not terribly excited. I'm like, okay, we get it. But then when it was Halloween, I'm like, oh no, wait, I'm all in.
Exactly. Me
Okay.
too. I was so excited when they went to the Halloween.
That had to be fun to compose Halloween music.
Yeah, it was super fun. Like, we broke out, well, they're all sampled instruments, but the theremin, we put like theremin in some spots.
Right.
And these big like church organ parts, it's a pretty funny movie, I have to say. Like, I hope everybody tunes in and enjoys it, because it was a lot of fun to score. And then we did that, and then we're on the Bills movie now. And then I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this one or not. Yeah, but there's one. It's another destination one. In Code. No. It's a destination film.
Okay.
In a tropical area that I was invited to go on set. I was like, God, I want to come on set with you guys. And
you didn't go?
No, because I'm working. I'm working here.
God, man.
They're there
Adulting
now.
Sucks,
actually.
doesn't it?
It does. Daddy's got bills to pay.
Yeah, you know what you do. You have to raise your kids better. So come on, take over. Time to learn to score.
Exactly.
When I get back, I'm going to have a tan, and I want that first draft done.
Totally.
Right. Well, Tommy, this was an absolute blast.
Likewise, yeah.
I'm glad it finally worked out, and we look forward to, like I say, you're pretty much going to have a movie coming up almost every other week, it seems like. So I appreciate it. And hopefully you kept some mental sanity so you'll get to enjoy the holidays. Absolutely. But you'll probably be getting all the beginning of 26 movies by that point. You won't.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
No rest for the wicked.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, thank you very much.
You. Yeah. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast was created by fans for fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark Channel.